Thus, Milton describes our first frail mother. Milton describes our first frail mother. That when he tells us that women are formed for softness and sweet attractive grace, I cannot comprehend his meaning unless in the true Mahometanstrand he meant to deprive us of souls and insinuate that we were beings only designed by sweet attractive grace and docile blind obedience to gratify the senses of man when he could no longer soar on the wing of contemplation. How grossly do they insult us, who thus advise us only to render ourselves gentle, domestic brutes. For instance, the winning softness so warmly and frequently recommended that governs by obeying what childish expressions, and how insignificant is the being. Can it be an immortal one who will condescend to govern by such sinister methods? Certainly, says Lord Bacon, man is of kin to the beast by his body, and if he be not of kin to God by his spirit, he is a base and ignoble creature. Men indeed appear to me to act in a very unphilosophical manner when they try to secure the good conduct of women by attempting to keep them always in a state of childhood. Rousseau was more consistent when he wished to stop the progress of reason in both sexes. For if men eat of the tree of knowledge, women will come in for a taste. But from the imperfect cultivation which their understandings now receive, they only attain a knowledge of evil. Of course, this is a reading of Mary Wallstonecraft, A Vindication of the Rights of Woman. Consequently, the most perfect education, in my opinion, is such an exercise of the understanding as is best calculated to strengthen the body and form the heart, or, in other words, to enable the individual to attain such habits of virtue as will render it independent. In fact, it is a farce to call any being virtuous whose virtues do not result from the exercise of its own reason. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Are you paying attention, Talgayita? Talgayita, you paying attention? It is a fact that it's a farce to call any being virtuous whose virtues do not result from the exercise of its own reason. Do I need to say that again? I'll say it again. In fact, it is a farce to call any being virtuous whose virtues do not result from the exercise of its own reason. This was Rousseau's opinion respecting men. I extend it to women and confidently assert that they have been drawn out of their sphere by false refinement and not by an endeavor to acquire masculine qualities. To speak disrespectfully of love is, I know, high treason against sentiment and fine feelings. But I wish to speak the simple language of truth. I wish to speak the simple language of truth. Pay attention. She's going to mention truth, rationality, logic. She just keeps on saying over and over again, use your mind. Mary Wallstonecraft had an incredible life, Ultimately, her main point is women should be educated. Because, my God, she's just going to appeal to man by her beauty? That is it? So that means all she is just a sweet, dumb nothing? Just a sweet, dumb nothing. Well, a smart man is going to need a smart woman to talk to. So you need to educate the women so that way the Einsteins have someone to talk to. I wish to speak the simple language of truth, and rather to address the head than the heart. To endeavor to reason love out of the world would be to out Quixote Cervantes and equally offend against common sense. But an endeavor to restrain this tumultuous passion and to prove that it should not be allowed to dethrone superior powers or to usurp the scepter which the understanding should ever coolly wield appears less wild. In a seraglio, I grant that all these arts are necessary. The epicure must have his palate tickled or he will sink into apathy, but have women so little ambition as to be satisfied with such a condition? Can they supinely dream life away in the lap of pleasure? Can they do that? Huh? Can women supinely dream life away in the lap of pleasure or in the languor of weariness? And the languor, Languor, of weariness, rather than assert their claim to pursue reasonable pleasures and render themselves conspicuous by practicing the virtues which dignify mankind? Surely she has not an immortal soul who can loiter life away, merely employed to adorn her person, that she may amuse the languid hours and soften the cares of a fellow creature who is willing to be enlivened by her smiles and tricks when the serious business of life is over. Women are everywhere in this deplorable state, for in order to preserve their innocence, as ignorance is courteously termed, truth is hidden from them, and they are made to assume an artificial character before their faculties have acquired any strength. Taught from their infancy that beauty is woman's scepter, the mind shapes itself to the body, and roaming round its gilt cage only seeks to adorn its prison. Men have various employments and pursuits which engage their attention and give a character to the opening mind. But women, confined to one and having their thoughts constantly directed to the most insignificant part of themselves, seldom extend their views beyond the triumph of the hour. But was their understanding once emancipated from the slavery to which the pride and sensuality of man and their short-sighted desire, like that of dominion and tyrants of present sway, has subjected them, we should probably read of their weaknesses with surprise. I must be allowed to pursue the argument a little further, a little farther. Perhaps if the existence of an evil being was allowed who, in the allegorical language of Scripture, went about seeking whom he should devour, he could not more effectually degrade the human character than by giving a man absolute power. Chapter 4. Now, I love this. She just mentions discerning truth. The discernment of truth is an important thing for when it comes to reason. Why are we rational? So we can discern the truth. Was JFK shot by one fucking person, Lee Harvey Oswald, all the way that direction when his head goes back and to the left? If his head went back and to the left, the shot came from that direction. We saw the fucking videotape. If Lee Harvey Oswald is back there, he is back and to the right. The shot came to the front and to the right. That's why when his head got hit, the head went back and to the left. Had he got shot from the back and to the right, then his head would have gone to the left and to the front. But it didn't go to the left and to the front. It went back and to the left. So therefore there was a second gunman on the grassy knoll. Reason is, consequentially, the simple power of improvement, or more properly speaking, of discerning truth. Every individual is in this respect a world in itself, more or less may be conspicuous in one being than another, but the nature of reason must be the same in all, if it be an emanation of divinity, the tie that connects the creature with the Creator. For if it be an emanation of divinity, the tie that connects the creature with the Creator, for can that soul be stamped with the heavenly image that is not perfected by the exercise of its own reason? Huh? Friendship is a serious affection, the most sublime of all affections, because it is founded on principle and cemented by time. The very reverse may be said of love. In a great degree, love and friendship cannot subsist in the same bosom. Even when inspired by different objects, they weaken or destroy each other, and for the same object can only be felt in succession. The vain fears and fond jealousies, the winds which fan the flame of love, when judiciously or artfully tempered, are both incompatible with the tender confidence and sincere respect of friendship.